Ripple has filed a response to the SEC's recent letter of supplemental authority. By the way, can businesses now unlock immediate, real-world value through crypto and blockchain with Ripple Liquidity Hub? Also, can XRP Ledger handle 1,500 transactions per second? Finally, Attorney Jeremy Hogan has highlighted another reason why summary judgment should favor Ripple, but the question remains this: can those reasons give Ripple victory? Stick with me till the end to find out more. If this sounds like something of much interest to you, be sure to check out this new video starting now. Hello everyone and welcome to our channel, where we talk about the latest updates on XRP and the cryptocurrency world in general. If this is your first time watching one of our videos, we happily send you a special welcome. We invite you to hit on the notification bell so you never miss another video. We are announcing that this channel has a giveaway of 200 XRP. To stand the chance of participating, all you have to do is simply subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment with the hashtag XRP, and the winner will be announced today. Leading blockchain company Ripple has responded to the SEC's opposition to its fair notice defense. Ripple's response to the SEC's recent supplemental authority letter was shared yesterday by seasoned United States defense lawyer James K. Fillon. Recall that in the SEC's letter, the agency argued that its case with Commonwealth Equity Service provides additional authority for rejecting Ripple's fair notice defense. Responding to this claim, Ripple said, in the Commonwealth case, the defendant did not provide any evidence to support its defense that market participants lacked fair notice requiring them to disclose economic conflict of interest. Instead, Commonwealth cited SEC's guidance and presented an expert who asserted that the agency's guidance did not require certain disclosures. According to Ripple, the Commonwealth case the SEC relies on to dismiss its fair notice defense is different from the evidence available in the ongoing lawsuit. Here, by contrast, there is abundant evidence, including extensive factual evidence from the SEC's own files and its communication with third parties, showing that reasonable market participants, trying to understand what the SEC would permit or prohibit, concluded that defendants' offers and sales of XRP were not investment contracts and told the SEC so. Ripple asserts that abundant evidence shows that the Securities and Exchange Commission was aware of the widespread regulatory confusion in the crypto space. The blockchain company also claimed that the evidence also shows that the SEC pushed this regulatory confusion by continuously offering vague guidance that differed from the Howey test. Furthermore, Ripple argued that it is irrelevant for the SEC to boast that the Commonwealth case adds to the unbroken chain of district court decisions rejecting fair notice defenses on summary judgment in its enforcement actions. Per Ripple, the court has already rejected the regulator's reliance on these cases because none of them dealt with the evidence it has cited in support of its summary judgment motion. The closest case, Upton, which the SEC excludes from its list because it is an appellate decision, is a binding precedent and ruled in favor of the defendant's fair notice defense. The court should do the same, and the Commonwealth does not change that, it concluded. Ripple's response to the SEC further supports the company's fair notice defense. Recall that Ripple filed a supplemental letter in support of its fair notice defense on March 4th. The defendants cited a recent Supreme Court ruling in Bittner v. U.S., where two justices in the majority relied on the rule of lenity as a basis for their opinion. For context, the rule of lenity dictates that the court should rule in favor of the defendants whenever the rules are unclear. Responding to Ripple's argument, the SEC noted that the two justices' reliance on the rule of lenity has no significance to the defendant's fair notice defense. Meanwhile, the crypto community still expects the summary judgment, which attorney John Deaton believes might come at any time. As each day goes by, summary judgment in Ripple vs. SEC keeps getting closer. According to attorney Deaton, the ruling might come on or before May 6th. Apparently, this could be Ripple's legal team's final submission in the case before Judge Torres rules. Please, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and also hit that notification bell to be the first person to get more updates about the latest happenings as regards to XRP. Ripple, the prominent fintech firm behind XRP, has launched its Liquidity Hub solution, an innovative service designed for businesses. This cutting-edge solution gives businesses access to liquidity for digital assets drawn from various top exchanges, market makers, and over-the-counter desks worldwide. Ripple announced the launch after piloting the product last year. The Liquidity Hub is a fully integrated and comprehensive solution that aims to aid businesses in sourcing and managing liquidity across various platforms. The service uses advanced technology to find the best rates for digital assets and allows businesses to access liquidity without needing to keep a lot of capital on hand. This reduces the amount of money businesses have tied up and makes it easier for them to use their resources efficiently. Ripple's new service also gives corporations access to a big network of payout channels worldwide, making it easier and faster to carry out operations like managing digital currency transactions and keeping track of funds. The service is available round the clock. Liquidity Hub's success is predicated upon its interoperability and vast reservoirs of liquidity across asset pairs. It is also important to find the best prices and liquidity from different places and allow businesses to reduce expenses on high-volume transactions such as treasury management. The Ripple Liquidity Hub was made to fix the problems that can come up when connecting digital currencies and fiat currencies. It has an easy-to-use dashboard and a simple way to connect to different platforms, so businesses can manage and get liquidity without complicated setups. As per the recent announcement, the platform currently supports BTC, ETH, LTC, ETC, and BCH, with no explicit reference to XRP, leading to queries within the XRP community. Ripple disclosed that the Liquidity Hub could operate as an autonomous product or part of its cross-border payment system. Radhof Kahneman, a notable member of the XRP community, pointed this out. Another XRP community member remarked, "The connection to XRP is less evident than I had hoped." For context, there is literally no mention of XRP or XRPL in any technical sense. One may only hypothesize as to why, given that Ripple no longer openly mentions XRP except in the context of ODL. Crypto Airy also pointed out the absence of XRP. Radhof Kahneman further clarified that Ripple had noted that the product does not leverage XRP. He disclosed that he had anticipated it would be associated with Ripple's ODL solution, but due to the ambiguous information available, it remains uncertain if it will even leverage RippleNet. It's important to mention that back in November 2021, Ripple announced that the Liquidity Hub would support 6 assets upon launch, including XRP. However, the company mentioned that the selection of assets available to businesses would depend on their location and that more assets would be added to the platform in the future. Furthermore, David Schwartz, Chief Technology Officer, CTO, at Ripple, recently dismissed claims that the XRP Ledger, XRPL, currently handles up to 1,500 transactions per second. Schwartz's remarks were made in reply to queries raised by a member of the XRP community. Schwartz recently took to Twitter to dispel 10 different beliefs about XRP and the XRP Ledger that are widely held by the community but are, in fact, false. One such claim is that XRPL processes up to 1,500 transactions per second. An anonymous community member had called attention to these claims. For the uninitiated, transaction per second is a metric that measures the number of transactions processed by a blockchain network per second. The TPS of a blockchain network depends on several factors, including the network's consensus algorithm, block size, network latency, and transaction complexity. According to Schwartz, they have never witnessed up to 1,500 TPS on the live XRP Ledger since it launched in 2012. However, he acknowledged that the blockchain's current configuration could support up to 300 to 500 transactions per second on a live network. For context, Bitcoin processes between 3 and 7 transactions per second. One of the XRP community members highlighted an authoritative source on the official Ripple website as the origin of the widely held claim. Specifically, the page dedicated to XRP on the Ripple website explicitly states that XRPL consistently handles 1,500 transactions per second, 24/7. In response, Schwartz clarified that the statement XRPL consistently handles 1,500 TPS 24/7 is not true, as the current operation of the XRPL on the live network is below the 1,500 TPS mark. He acknowledged that the statement was poorly worded and has reported to the appropriate department to have it corrected. David Schwartz also tackled 9 other misconceptions regarding the XRPL that had been recently refuted. Among them, he explained that the XRP Ledger relies on the internet and cannot function offline. He further confirmed that, at present, no central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are issued on XRPL. Furthermore, Schwartz noted that RippleNet, Ripple's global payment network consisting of banks and financial institutions, does not use liquidity from the on-demand liquidity solution. Now, to the big question of the day, can the current reasons given by Attorney Jeremy Hogan give Ripple victory? Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and also hit that notification bell to be the first person to get more updates about the latest happenings as regards to XRP. Attorney Jeremy Hogan, a pro-XRP lawyer and partner of Hogan & Hogan, has highlighted the second reason why Ripple did not sell the sixth largest cryptocurrency as a security. In a Twitter thread today, Attorney Hogan noted that Judge Analisa Torres has already given a clue on how she might find that Ripple did not sell XRP as a security. According to a document shared by Hogan, Judge Torres demystified the Howey test into 3 prongs: 1, an investment of money; 2, in a common enterprise; and 3, with profits to come solely from the efforts of others. Following Judge Torres' version of the Howey test, Hogan explained that the test's third prong implies that XRP purchasers must have sought profits solely from the efforts of others. The pro-XRP attorney finds the third prong of the Howey test interesting despite some court rulings that removed the solely requirement. Hogan noted that the SEC's effort to prove that XRP investors relied on Ripple's efforts to make gains was truncated. Notably, the judge struck out the testimony of the SEC's expert hired to prove this point. Hogan remarked that after the dismissal of SEC's Expert 1 testimony, the agency's third expert became the only witness to testify about the third prong of the Howey test. Judge Torres denied Ripple's motion to dismiss the SEC third expert's testimony. Notably, the SEC third expert opined that Ripple secretly manipulated XRP price. However, the expert did not indicate whether XRP purchasers knew about this price manipulation. In fact, the expert states that what Ripple was doing was being done in secret so people wouldn't know. Without connecting Ripple's actions to behavior, the testimony fails as proof, said Hogan. The outspoken legal expert does not believe the expert's report is enough to justify the third prong of the Howey test. Based on this, he said the regulator is now left with only the so-called cacophony statements made by Ripple as evidence to prove the third prong of Howey. In the SEC summary judgment motion, the regulator cited instances where Ripple promoted XRP as an investment contract. Some include the brochures sent out to potential investors in 2014 and tweets from Ripple's chairman Chris Larsen, highlighting how the company intends to keep 50% of XRP supply to build apps and promote Ripple. Furthermore, the regulator asserted that Ripple touted XRP price increase as Ripple mania. Hogan believes these claims are not enough to prove the third prong. Meanwhile, Ripple has provided evidence showing that XRP was publicly deemed a currency and an asset, and not a security as claimed by the SEC. Despite SEC getting 6 XRP holders to say otherwise, thousands of XRP holders countered the statement in the amicus curiae brief filed by attorney John Deaton on behalf of the community, said Hogan. He added that one of the SEC experts conceded that Ripple had no influence on XRP price movements since 2018 till date. Based on his analysis, Hogan said the majority of the evidence in the lawsuit shows that XRP investors did not rely on Ripple's efforts to make gains. He concluded that no reasonable juror would go through the evidence and still conclude that the SEC was able to prove the third prong of the Howey test. According to Hogan, the analysis is the second reason Ripple should win the lawsuit. The partner of Hogan & Hogan highlighted the first reason why Ripple should win earlier this week. He asserted that the SEC has failed to show the investment contract in the Ripple case. Hogan's legal analysis is part of efforts to provide research materials to the clerk assisting Judge Torres in drafting the summary judgment. "Thanks for reading, especially you awesome law clerk," he remarked. "Now we will give the winner of the 200 XRP. The winner is on the screen. Congratulations. And remember that on April 30th, we will have another with the same characteristics." So we come to the end of this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Also, you can help enlighten others just like you have been enlightened by sharing this video to as many people as possible. Let's get this news everywhere, guys. If you are a true cryptocurrency fan, don't miss any of our content. See you tomorrow to talk about the latest news that concerns us all as a community.